right, hello wine drinking people. We're back with more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and man, so far this year has started off with a bang and some great stuff in the store. A great small winer from Oregon, Steve Lawrence, was in with Bergstrom Wines, and this is one of the up-and-coming stars of the last decade. Small, family-owned operation like most of the wineries in Oregon, and Josh Bergstrom manages all 85 acres himself, and a total of 10,000 cases. Well, in 2010, it was just 5,900 cases. A great vintage, but a smaller vintage than anticipated. These wines are truly a pleasure to taste, and they're wines that make your tongue salivate for food. One of the things I love about Old World Pinot Noir Burgundies, they have that lovely, savory, mouth-watering goodness on the finish. And all these wines worthy of being in my shop. I think we just have the 2010 Cumberland Reserve at this time. This wine is a blend of Bergstrom's 5 different vineyards, De Lancelotti, Shea, and Shea give it that quintessential Willamette Valley Pinot Noir, bright minerality. Shea gives it a mouthfeel and mid-palate. Bergstrom Vineyard adds that perfume and red fruits as well as elegance. Temperance Hill and Yola Amity, a cooler region, also adds some backbone tannins to the wine. And Color Ridge is the last one. Very bright cherry fruit and high acid tones in this vineyard. Really nice combination. And, you know, they take all these 5 single vineyards, they make this wine, and then they bottle the rest. Kind of interesting. The Pinot Noir producer in to see us next did the exact opposite. So which one is right, which one is wrong? Well, I would probably take, you know, my blend and make it first and then bottle the rest. But hey. Anyways, there's only 2,300 cases of this vintage produced. The 2010 has an exotic spice on the nose, fresh flowers, light berry fruit, earthy tones, a very complex bouquet of aromas from these 5 vineyards. Bright and fresh on the tongue. Some green vegetal notes here, but that's what you get in people that are making 13% alcohol wines, a little less ripe, but still has enough fruit to balance that out, and a lovely spicy finish in this wine. Some nice mineral showing through and some nice complexity. All right, the Lancelotti, which this is the most distinct of the single vineyard wines. A lot of gravelly, flinty, minerally notes in this wine. Some smoke, some crushed fossilized seashells. The most distinct of all the single vineyard sites, as I said, because of that sedimentary soil that's overlaid with 2 layers of sand from the Missoula floods. Hardly any more organic material is here at all. When the vines die off in the wintertime, you really don't see almost anything on the ground. But when the vineyard was 4 years old, the vines were already 20 meters deep. Just goes to show you how poor the soil is there. Only 22 acres of vines here, and the owner's married to Josh's sister, so a little incestuous relationship here, but all biodynamically farmed, so he gets whatever fruit he wants to off of this. Bright red raspberry and strawberry fruit on the nose here. Really exotic spice and floral notes to that complex minerality in the bouquet. Really smooth and silky on the palate with a long finish. Featuring an array of spice and mineral, most excellent juice, one of my favorite Pinots. 73.75. They're very proud of their wine here, but like I said, not a lot of this stuff to go around. The Bergstrom Hill from the Dundee, Bergstrom Vineyards from the Dundee Hills was next. A good amount of dirt here on the nose. One of the things I love about Pinot Noir, it is a chameleon. It really shows you where it's from. The same vintage, the same producer, the same varietal, but very different wines. This vineyard's about 2 miles away as the crow flies, but the terroir consists of an old lava flow here, so very different than that marine time sedimentary soil in the Lancelotti wine, more iron-rich soils, and they make the fermentations in these wines go as long as possible to develop flavors. Some of these wines take 3 weeks or more. That's not unusual. A lot of bright cherry fruit, some brown spice in this one, and a very distinct minerality, too, coming from that volcanic soil here. This wine could... This wine's budwood supposedly came from the Mussini vineyard. Josh supposedly brought back budwood in the form of a wreath, a Christmas wreath, smuggled it back into the country, and you notice some of that really exotic spice you get from Mussini, and the minerals, like I said, coming out in this wine, and a laser-like acidity to finish this wine off. Lovely freshness here, multiple layers on the finish. And then finally, the 2011 Shea. This was a very difficult vintage. In Halloween, the grapes were still green. They were really panicking at this point because the grapes are not supposed to be green at Halloween. They're supposed to be thinking about picking at that time, but they had perfect weather all the way through to Thanksgiving, and the grapes got ripened. You got a lot of hang time in 2011, a very unique vintage, and they think it's going to be excellent, but only 12.5% alcohol in this wine, so a very light wine, but with wonderful perfume, some smoky bacon fat nuance here. Still a bit reserved, still very young. I'd like to see this wine another 6 months, 8 months from now. Lovely, silky, elegant texture on the tongue, smooth tannins, and that light berry fruit, but a lot of spice, and nice length on the finish, a little green tea, some fine tannins at the end. Most excellent stuff from Bergstrom Vineyards. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.